Hi, my name is Matt and welcome to my latest gaming news video. I'll be covering recent gaming news as well as some other gaming related things in this video. I'm grateful for any feedback, so if you feel the need to do so, please leave a comment below. You can also like and subscribe if you're enjoying my videos. I'll now get into some gaming news from the past week or so as usual. The first bit of piece of news is a Unity update. I had covered the whole Unity situation in my last gaming news video, and now Unity themselves have given a new update on their fees, etc. Going forward. Just a quick summary, Unity had planned to add per install, I believe it was, fees to games created in its engine. This fee, the Unity runtime fee, would affect the game developers rather harshly and was almost universally seen as a bad thing by the gaming community at large. Fee was also added on top of the existing licensing fees, I believe. But now Unity has improved the deal, but from what I can tell, not only is the damage sort of already done, but the deal is still not great. At least that's the feedback I've noticed. And as is seemingly quite common at this point for many game companies, at least the past year, an apology was given. Mark Witten from Unity said, quote, "I'm sorry, we should have spoken with more of you and we should have incorporated more of your feedback before announcing our new runtime fee policy. Our goal with this policy is to ensure we can continue to support you today and tomorrow and keep deeply investing in our game engine." End quote. But yeah, why they didn't get the feedback beforehand is a bit wild to me. I can see why so many devs no longer trust Unity now. The main Unity policy changes are that Unity will no longer be charging per install runtime fees for developers using Unity Personal or Unity Plus, and Unity Personal games will no longer require a Unity startup or a splash screen. This means that the runtime install fees will just affect Unity Pro or Enterprise developers and will come into place if those developers meet two requirements. Those requirements being if they make 1 million US dollars in yearly gross revenue, and if they reach 1 million installs, I believe. One other thing is that the runtime fee will not affect anyone using older versions of Unity, from what I can tell, but will affect the upcoming versions of Unity releasing in 2024. Developers can also choose to report their installs and pay the runtime fee or the equivalent of 2.5% of their game's self-reported monthly gross revenue, and apparently developers will be charged for the lesser of the two amounts. So yeah, while an improvement, I'm still seeing devs not being too happy with these changes and also not trusting Unity going forward. As yeah, I guess they could spring changes on devs again, as was the case sort of the past couple of weeks that this whole situation sort of unfolded. Just to add, a developer has cancelled a Switch port of their game entirely. The game in question is the Wipeout style racing game Ballistic NG. The game was originally released on PC via Steam, and it seems to be doing quite well there with a very positive review rating. And the devs had planned a Switch version, but that has now been canned due to Unity's planned policy changes. The studio said that, quote, "Despite Unity's efforts to recover after their PR disaster, there just isn't any trust and security for us to continue moving forward with newer versions of their tools in the foreseeable future." They also mention how they couldn't avoid the fees due to Nintendo requiring a rolling Unity version for games released on their devices. I think it might be 2 years. It's got to be within 2 years of release, something along those lines. Um, and that will require them to update to the latest engine version in 2024 and thus incur the fees. A number of other devs have also made decisions because of these policy changes, though instead of cancelling their games, they're porting them to different engines, which will likely increase development time, but I can't say blame them, as developers' trust in Unity is very low at the moment, from what I can tell. I can't think that devs are, sorry, I think that devs are rightfully sort of concerned that Unity could spring another policy change on them in the future. And yeah, I guess this is Unity's sort of final decision on the fee. Maybe they'll change this again. If they do, I'll likely cover it. But yeah, that's as far as I can tell where the Unity situation is at the moment. Now on to the Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty expansion and its reception. I've covered Phantom Liberty in a few gaming news and tech news videos, and now it's finally out. Just to mention, the accompanying Cyberpunk 2077 2.0 update was released on the 21st of September. It's a free update and does seem to improve the game. Phantom Liberty, though, is paid but is being received very positively. I've watched one review of it on YouTube, and that was a video by G-Man Live, so we'll link the video in the description. And yeah, he does great great game reviews. Check his channel out. He found Phantom Liberty to be a great expansion along with the 2.0 update. But yeah, let's get into the review ratings now. On Steam, Phantom Liberty has a very positive rating with 89% of user reviews being positive. On GOG or GOG, the expansion has a rating of 3.8 out of 5, which is a bit lower than the other scores. I took a look into the reviews on GOG, and it would seem people are saying there's some sort of DRM that comes with the game. I'm not really sure what's going on, as games bought via GOG or GOG are usually DRM free. And finally, on Metacritic, the PC and Xbox versions of Phantom Liberty had a Metascore of 89, and the PS5 version is scoring 88. At the time of checking, user scores weren't up, but I will add an image around here if they go live while I'm recording / editing. So yeah, Phantom Liberty seems to be doing very well. If only this was how the game originally released. As the game had the game had a rough launch, especially on last gen consoles. Phantom Liberty and the 2.0 update seem to have fixed or updated a lot of things and added significant content, like adding Dogtown and another skill tree, among other things. You can also drive and shoot now, which is interesting. And the police respond sort of appropriately. You can even get into high-speed car chases, which I don't think were in the game before. I have Cyberpunk 2077 on Steam. I haven't played it yet, but when I do get around to playing it, I think I'll just pick up Phantom Liberty at the same time, then go through the base game, followed by Phantom Liberty. I'm really looking forward to it, actually. Playing Cyberpunk and Update 2.0 along with Phantom Liberty, yeah, has me excited to jump into the game finally, and when I finally do at some point. Just a quick update on the whole Microsoft Activision-Blizzard acquisition thing. It looks like Microsoft has come to a deal with the UK's CMA, Competition Markets and Markets Authority. The CMA was blocking the deal until recently. It's looking like Microsoft selling the Activision cloud gaming rights to Ubisoft was enough for the CMA to okay the deal. The deal with Ubisoft will see them getting cloud streaming rights for all current and upcoming Activision Blizzard games on both PC and console. It looks like these games will will be streamable via Ubisoft Plus. I'll quote the gov.uk press release. The sale of Activision's cloud gaming rights to Ubisoft substantially addresses previous concerns and opens the door to the deal being cleared, the CMA said today. So the CMA has basically given Microsoft the go ahead, though I believe we won't get a definite answer until the 6th of October. I believe that's one of the last deadlines, maybe. But you never know, might get pushed back. But yeah, along with the deal clearing US courts, among others, it seems very likely that Microsoft will purchase and take control of Activision Blizzard in the sort of near future, I guess. Now for a couple bits of news, I'm actually a bit late too, but yeah, next two topics a bit late too, but I did want to cover them this week anyway. The first one is the most recent Nintendo Direct. There were a number of games shown off during the event, and a few were of interest to me, and I will add footage of the three games as I speak about them. So yeah, these were remasters and a remake of old fan favorites. The first one was Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door HD. I've not played The Thousand Year Door, but I have heard a lot of great things about the game. The game is always being praised, it would seem. And I suspect that fans will be very pleased with this announcement. The game originally released in 2004 for the GameCube, and at the time of release, it received glowing reviews and still does. Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door is an RPG and has actually a very nice art direction. I wouldn't mind giving it a go someday. The HD remaster will be coming to the Switch next year. The next game is Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. I've also heard a lot of good things about the Luigi's Mansion games, but have never played them. There was a remake of the first game which released on the Switch in 2018, I think, but this new one is a remaster of the second game. The original game um, released in 2001, again on the GameCube, and the sequel, which is being remastered, originally released on the 3DS. Luigi's Mansion 3 is the latest in the series, though, and released onto the Switch in 2019. I've also been interested in the Luigi's Mansion games, as I really like their sort of spooky aesthetic. And yeah, I would like to play through them someday. The probably the first one, I would imagine. The HD remaster number 2 is coming to the Switch next summer. The third game in this of the three that I'm covering from Nintendo Direct is a remake of Super Mario RPG: Legend of the Seven Stars, another beloved game. And like Paper Mario, it is an RPG. You probably already guessed that. Super Mario RPG originally released in 1996 for the SNES. For some reason, I was thinking it was released on the N64, but it was in fact released on the SNES. Super Mario RPG is another cool looking game and another well received game. It's another game I'd like to try out someday. The remake of Super Mario RPG is actually coming out this year, 2023, on November 17th. Yeah, I think out of the three, if I had to choose, I'd more than likely end up picking the Luigi's Mansion game, as it's a series of games that's always sort of intrigued me. But yeah, there are a bunch of other games. Check the IGN article in the description if you want to see more or read up on some more. The next up is Sony's most recent PlayStation State of Play. Again, late to my coverage of this event, but thought why not include it? Better late than never, I guess. So a few interesting games were shown here, some new and some we already know about. We'll include relevant footage throughout. The first piece of footage was a story trailer for Avatar: Frontiers at Pandora. I'm really looking forward to how this game ends up. I'm a little concerned given that it's a Ubisoft game and Ubisoft ain't doing too well at the moment. But I really, hope it's a good game. And yeah, if it is, I will probably end up getting it. I will definitely be waiting for reviews of the game, however. Uh, Graphically, it's a very nice looking game. I really like the vibrant world of Pandora that has been shown in the Frontiers of Pandora footage, trailers, and things so far. I'm a fan of the Avatar film, but I don't think this game follows them too closely, which I think is fine. I actually really liked the Avatar game that came out back in 2009. I think I brought that up a couple of times, which came out in 2009 for PC, PS3, and 360. I would hope this game can at least be as good as that, if not better, but we'll have to wait and see. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora is releasing this year, actually, on the 7th of December. I will be looking forward to reviews of the game, definitely. Fingers crossed Ubisoft don't mess it up. The next game, or should I say DLC, is actually already out by the time this video would have went up. Um, and yeah, I believe it's out now at the time that I'm recording it. But it was revealed at the PlayStation event, I believe, and that is the Separate Ways DLC for Resident Evil Remake. A game I've yet to play, but it's pretty high on my list of games to get around to. In this DLC, you take control of Ada Wong, and it's set during the events of the main game. As I mentioned, the DLC is already out and is reviewing very well. On Steam, Separate Ways has an overwhelmingly positive rating, with 95% of all reviews being positive. But yeah, I think I will be picking this up on Steam when I get Resident Evil 4 Remake. Yeah, it looks really good. Can't wait to play the main game as well as this DLC. The final one that was interesting to me was a rather quirky and odd game, and that game was Baby Steps. It was actually Bennett Folly's next game. Bennett was the creator behind Getting Over with It with Bennett Folly, a physics game that did fairly well, I believe. A lot of people seem to be playing it and streaming it and things. This next game, though, Baby Steps, is similar to that game in the way that it's physics based. Gameplay looks quite interesting and comical. You now control a character who must overcome physical obstacles, similar to the other game, and it actually looks quite intriguing, quite funny, and yeah, definitely quite odd, but in a good way. Baby Steps is releasing next summer, 2024. But yeah, that's those two events covered. As with the Nintendo Direct event, there were a bunch more games shown. Definitely check the IGN articles in the description to see more. Now for some Sony business news. This is an ongoing story, so by the time this video comes out, things may have changed, but I will cover it briefly now. A ransomware hacker group is claiming that it has, quote, successfully compromised all of Sony's systems. But yeah, as of the time of writing, these claims are apparently unverified. The hacking group has said that if nobody purchases the data they have acquired, then they will leak it online. Whether this hack will end up being as big as the previous 2011 Sony hack is uncertain at this point. But the story, as more information is released, likely in the next video. But yeah, this could be a rather expensive situation for Sony. The 2011 hack, for just for comparison, there's a Sony PlayStation Network breach, I believe, that ended up leaking the personal information of approximately 77 million users and forced the network offline for 23 days. Was estimated to have cost Sony over $100 million, and that was Sony's reported dollar figure. So yeah, as the situation sort of evolves, I'll may cover next week depending on what happens. Next up, the recently released Payday 3, which I covered in a previous video, has had some sort of launch woes in the form of really bad server issues. The game released on the 21st of September, and ever since launch, players have had issues playing the game online. As this is actually currently the only way you can play the game, this is quite a problem, as you could imagine. Due to these matchmaking slash server issues, players have been leaving negative reviews for the game on Steam. The game, as of the time of checking, has a mostly negative review rating. This is from around 26,000 reviews. Hopefully the issues will be fixed soon, though it could take a little longer than hoped, as the game is going offline temporarily. I read somewhere. May have been in the article I linked, but maybe not. The launch server issues have got so bad that Starbreeze Studios is considering adding an offline slash solo mode into the game. I think Payday 3 is the first in the series that requires a persistent online connection or always online connection. And now you can, I guess, see why this is problematic, especially in this case. But yeah, it looks like they may remove that requirement in the future and allow solo or offline play. Starbreeze's CEO Tobias Songren said in a tweet reply, I will add a screenshot, that quote, team is looking at possibility to add some sort of offline mode. Tobias also said, quote, we are disappointed in the issues our player base has faced during our launch weekend, but we are confident in our core product and the quality of Payday 3, and all available metrics point to that. We have a lot of diligent and consistent work ahead of us to regain community trust, but we will work hard to do it. Starbreeze also mentioned that some issues were caused by its, in quotes, third-party matchmaking partner, and that they were now looking for a new matchmaking partner for Payday 3. So yeah, it looks like Starbreeze and their matchmaking partner are to blame for these matchmaking problems. Yeah, let's just hope hope a fix is rolled out soon and that players can play the game more instead of being stuck in matchmaking. It does look like these issues may last for a bit longer yet, however. Hopefully they're not still ongoing for the next gaming news video, or else I'll probably continue to cover the situation. Next, some quick Red Dead Redemption 2 news. I had covered the Red Dead Redemption Switch and PS4 port in a previous gaming news video and how its announcement was being received. And now some information related to a possible Red Dead Redemption 2 Switch port may have been leaked. This is speculation and may just be nothing, but Switch port of number 2 has been listed on the Brazilian ratings board's website. This was spotted by an ex-user. I will throw up the tweet around here. Whether this is because Rockstar are considering a Red Dead 2 port for the Switch, I'm uncertain. It is kind of fun to speculate on this type of thing sometimes. Red Dead 2 can be a very demanding game to run. I haven't actually played it yet. I do have it on PC, but I haven't, like many games, you might have realised I haven't got around to playing it yet. And yeah, the Switch is fairly old at this point, I guess. I have covered the Switch's specific GPU in a couple tech news videos, and it is based on the older NVIDIA Maxwell architecture. I think it would be possible to get the game to run on a Switch, however the experience probably wouldn't be that good. Kind of like how the recent Mortal Kombat 1 Switch version is running and looking. I don't think that Rockstar would release Red Dead 2 on the Switch, but you never know. I might give it a go. It'll be interesting to see at least. maybe the listing also hints at a Switch 2 port of the game, as the Switch 2 is looking like it will be much more powerful than the original Switch, if leaks are to be believed. I've covered the Switch 2 leaks in a few tech news videos, and it looks like its GPU will be NVIDIA Ampere based, Ampere being the architecture which powers the RTX 30 series of GPUs. Although the potential Ampere GPU in the upcoming Switch would be a mobile one, it would be more than likely be good enough to run Red Dead 2 quite comfortably, I would think. I guess we'll just have to wait and see if Rockstar brings the game to the Switch or the Switch's successor, or maybe the listing is literally just nothing. Now for some Star Wars Jedi news. I think this was kind of expected, but I will cover it nonetheless. After the release of the first two Star Wars Jedi games, Fallen Order and Survivor, a new one has been confirmed to be in development, as revealed by Cameron Monaghan, the actor behind the game's protagonist Kestis. Cameron revealed during a recent Star Wars Jedi Game Series panel at Ocala Comic Con 2023, which took place on September 16th. Monaghan said, "We're working on the third. We're in the process of doing it right now. That's a big undertaking, and there have been some conversations so far. Hopefully, when all things are said and done, we'll be able to go in and make something really cool for you guys again." Yeah, this fact that a third game was in development has been sort of known, I guess, for a while now, as Respawn's former Star Wars director Stig Asmussen said that he envisioned the game series to be a trilogy. I've heard great things about the two games that have released so far, and do plan on playing them at some point in the future. Although I will add that Survivor had a rather rocky launch on PC, with performance being very, very poor across a range of PCs. It still has a mixed rating on Steam, but I believe that has improved somewhat since release. For what I can tell, the game runs better, though there are still some performance related issues with the otherwise great game. Hopefully, the third game releases without the same performance issues. We can hope. As the first game in the series, I believe, did. It had no issues on launch. I don't think. Maybe by the time the third game releases, I might have actually played the first two games as well. I'll have to wait and see, I guess. But yeah, I'm looking forward to giving them a go at some point. Now on to some news related to a Skyrim mod. The mod in question aims to recreate Vampire the Masquerade Redemption and is titled Vampire the Masquerade Redemption Reawakened. So they're aiming to remake the original Vampire, the Masquerade game that, sounds very interesting to me, so I thought I'd include it as a topic this week. The mod is looking to create Vampire the Masquerade Redemption, originally released in the year 2000 for the PC and Mac. The game takes place in two time periods, if I'm correct: 12th century Prague and Vienna, and late 20th century London and New York City. Like the second game, Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines, the first game does seem to have a rather devoted following, something that might be hinted at by this announcement. You may have guessed. Or else why would I guess why would someone be making a time mod of the game? There's got to be a pretty devoted fan base for it, who are willing to sort of use their spare time, I guess, to recreate the game in Skyrim. Both games are apparently very good. I only say apparently because I've not played them, but I have heard a lot of good things about both of them, especially Bloodlines, though. I'm probably going to play Bloodlines at some point. It's one of those classic games that I sort of have on my to-do list to play someday. Some friends have also strongly recommended Bloodlines to me as well. This in development mod is going to try and recreate the first game in Skyrim. It looks like the mod developers had revealed details to PC Gamer previously, but this is the first I've actually heard of it. The mod developers have released a couple videos showing off what they've accomplished so far, and it looks really good. Both videos will feature in my YouTube video spotlight section for today, so you hear me mention the mod again later. In both videos, they show off their recreation of recreation of medieval Prague, both in the daytime and at night, as well as the silver mines. It's all looking pretty nice so far. It looks like the sort of world I'd like to explore. From what they've shown, I like the atmosphere the mod is giving off, especially the nighttime Prague section and the mines section. And as it is being made in Skyrim, it does have a very Skyrim feel to it, which, in my opinion, isn't a bad thing. It looks pretty good. I will be, looking forward to how the mod turns out when it fully releases and how they recreate the more modernish settings of the game. And the mod, Has no definite release date yet, though I will keep an eye on it and maybe reporting it in the future. The final bit of gaming news before we move on to the upcoming games section is that a new The Division game is in development. Tom Clancy's The Division 3. I've not played any of the Division games. I know they have a decent sized following, but the videos I've watched of the game haven't really enticed me to try them out so far. I might give them a go someday, but yeah, I'm not quite sure. Ubisoft via Massive Entertainment's Twitter or X account. I'll throw the tweet up here, and they tweeted the confirmation saying, "quote Julian Garrity has been appointed executive producer for the Tom Clancy's The Division brand. Julian will oversee all games and products, including Tom Clancy's The Division 3, led by Massive Entertainment, who is actively building a team for the game." So yeah, it seems like the game is in early development, so it'll probably be a while before it does come out. But yeah, I'm guessing Division fans will be quite happy with this news. It also seems that Julian will continue to work on the upcoming Star Wars Outlaws game, at least until it's finished, as he is also the creative director for that game. Yeah, may actually try one of the Division games someday, but I'm not sure. Maybe I'll just give it a go, and yeah, maybe I will like it. I will add that I have played a lot of Tom Clancy's games, with my favourite being the Rainbow Six games, specifically Vegas 1 and 2. They're great games, and I went through them both earlier this year. I've also played the newer Ghost Recon Advanced Warfare games. I also played through that both of them this year. End War was another game I really liked. Played that back on the Xbox 360. Also really liked Ghost Recon Wildlands. That's a great game. Might give Breakpoint a go at some point. Breakpoint released to pretty poor reception, though it does seem to be reviewing better now. Would like to say I would love it if Ubisoft announced a Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Vegas 3. That would be really amazing. I don't think that Vegas 1 and 2 need remakes or remasters, as they hold up really well, but I wouldn't mind that either. But yeah, definitely Vegas 3 would be awesome. That is, if Ubisoft don't mess it up. But yeah, best mention as well, I have played a fair bit of Rainbow Six Siege, not in a while, but yeah, a few, like 4+ years ago now, and did like it. Although I would prefer if Ubisoft went back to the older Rainbow Six formula in the next game, if they were to decide to make one. I haven't really heard anything on Rainbow Six front. I think they're just sort of carrying on with Siege for however long they want. But yeah, definitely Vegas 3. Yeah, I'd be really interested in that. So that's the sort of general gaming news, the bits covered for today. Moving to the upcoming games. Got some interesting upcoming games up next. There is a big release next week I'll cover today. Originally, I thought that Forza Motorsport was releasing next week, and it kind of is, but only if you have one of the premium editions, which gives you early access to the game on the 5th. So I won't actually be covering that in this week. I'll cover it when it comes out, the regular version. But yeah, I'll cover it in next week's video, though, as yeah, the main launch is on the 10th. But anyway, as always, there will be footage and/or images of the games covered. So let's get into the first game. The first game in this week's upcoming section is the sequel to a popular PC game, and it is actually is on consoles as well. Might want to should have mentioned that. And it is Thief Simulator 2. The first game, from what I can tell, was pretty popular and sold well. Thief Simulator, the original game, released in November of 2018 and has a very positive rating on Steam, with 91% of recent reviews being positive. So that's a decent percentage, I'd say. I've not played the original game. I do have it on Steam, and we'll probably get around to giving it a go at some point. But yeah, Thief Simulator 2, as you might sort of expect or assume, is a stealth crime game where you sneak around and attempt to rob people's houses while trying to avoid detection. In that way, yeah, it is very similar to the first game, though the gameplay does look to have been more expanded upon, with more stuff to do and more places to rob, including commercial properties, as well as armoured vehicle break-ins and so on. The Steam description reads, quote, "Become the best thief, gather intel, steal things, and sell them to buy high-tech equipment. Do everything that a real thief does." I suspect anyone that enjoyed the first Thief Simulator will enjoy this one, as it does seem very similar, but with more content and updated visuals. Yeah, I do like the look and the feel of the game, and after I play the first one, I will likely pick this one up at some point, number two. Although it could be a while, as yeah, I've mentioned this too many times, but there's so many sort of games coming out and a bunch in my backlog. Feast Simulator 2 is releasing the 4th of October and it's coming to the PC via Steam. Looks like it will be coming to consoles at some point, but I can't find definitive evidence of this, as the trailer just says Steam. But Google and IGN say current gen consoles, last gen consoles, and the Switch. But yeah, as I said, and just to add, sort of as I mentioned earlier, the first game was on console, so maybe it will release on PC first and come to console at a later date. If you're looking to buy it on one of those platforms, definitely check to see if it's is purchasable on or after release date. The Steam version actually also has a demo if you want to try it out first. So yeah, that's always good to have a demo of you just in case. Now for a game that is already out on PC, but I thought I'd add it in here, and that game is Warhammer 40,000 Darktide. I haven't played Darktide, but I have played a bit of Warhammer Vermintide 2. That's a, yeah, pretty good game actually. Darktide is a similar game, although it has a Warhammer 40k setting, as opposed to Vermintide's Warhammer fantasy setting. Darktide, as well as Vermintide, are co-op FPS games where you fight hordes of evil enemies from the 40k or fantasy worlds. Uh, Darktide has you play as either an Inquisitor Zealot, a veteran Imperial Guard Stormtrooper, an Ogrin, or a Psyker. And what is pretty cool is that you can customize each class quite extensively, and your character by the looks when I looked at some footage of it. I, yeah, would like to play the game someday, as I did enjoy Vermintide 2. I will probably pick it up on PC if it goes on deal in the future. I will mention that the game had a bit of a rough launch and has a mixed rating on Steam. Darktide does, though the percentage of positive reviews has gone up from 56% to 67% when you look at recent reviews. When I checked recently, and yeah, as I alluded to, the game is already out on PC, though now it's releasing on the Xbox Series X and S. Is releasing to those consoles on the 4th of October. On a related note, I just want to say the game is developed by Fat Shark, and I just wanted to say I hope they make another War of the Roses game. Yeah, that is all. Just thought I'd add that little bit in there. But yeah, anyway, we have a pretty big launch, and that is the next major Assassin's Creed installment, Mirage. Mirage is the latest mainline Assassin's Creed game, at least since Valhalla, which came out towards the end of 2020. So it has been a little while, and hopefully Mirage benefits from that increased development time. Mirage does look quite good, and I'm hoping it turns out well, but you never know with Ubisoft these days. I seem to be ragging on Ubisoft a bit, but but anyway, they do seem to always have issues as of late with a number of controversies and Skull and Bones issues, among others. Graphically, though, Assassin's Creed Mirage, the game, yeah, and world look nice. The medieval period Baghdad setting is a cool one. I'm definitely interested in exploring that world. But yeah, I do really hope Mirage is a return to form, as I did really enjoy Origins, and I heard Odyssey was great. I do need to play Odyssey at some point. I do have it on PC. Valhalla, it seems, had a rough launch, though is reviewing better now. So I'll likely get around to playing that at some point as well. I have covered Mirage a number of times, including in the last tech news video where I went over its PC requirements slash stroke specs. Also covered how it seems that Mirage, instead of being a vast open world like the previous three games, will be going for a more focused approach with a smaller, more detailed world, akin to the older Assassin's Creed games. I did really like the open world of Origins, but I can see why people would like Ubisoft to make an AC game again that is more similar to the original games, and hopefully this approach works out for them and players enjoy it. Although, as I said, I understand people are unsure of the game. We will find out soon, however, if it is a well-received game. Assassin's Creed Mirage is releasing on October 5th and is coming to PC, current and last-gen consoles, as well as iOS, specifically via the iPhone 15 Pro. I'm not sure if it's on the standard version, but it does mention the 15 Pro. And yeah, I did actually cover that it was coming to the latest iPhones in a previous tech news video too, as is Resident Evil 4. I do wonder how both games will run on the device. It would be cool to see a tech YouTuber check that out. Now onto an early access game called Stop Dead. I don't usually cover early access games that often, as I prefer to wait for a full release, but this game does look quite cool. Stop Dead is a fast-paced first-person 3D action platformer and kind of reminds me of Mirror's Edge with some super hot added in. Graphically, it has a nice comic book-esque feel to it and is quite colourful. Isn't going for the high fidelity realistic look, but does look unique in its own sort of stylized way. Gameplay has you parkouring around the world and has you battling robots and cyborgs while using verticality and the environment to your advantage. You use your telekinesis as well to throw objects at your enemies. The Steam description reads, quote, "A rogue AI is hell-bent on destroying its creators and has swept you up in its plans. Use your superhuman abilities to run, jump, slide, and pull hundreds of objects as projectile weapons to blast everything in your path in this funny and chaotic first-person telekinetic brawl Stop Dead." So, like Mirror's Edge, you'll be using your character's agility to defeat your enemies. If you like this type of fast-paced, chaotic FPS action, definitely check it out. Stop Dead is releasing on the 5th of October, and I believe it is only coming to PC for now. There is also a demo for the game on Steam in case you want to give it a go, so that's good. The final two games are Nintendo Switch games, one being a remake. The first of those, the remake, is Front Mission 2 Remake. I've not played any of the Front Mission games, but I believe they were well-received games. The last mainline game was Front Mission Evolved, I think. Most of the game was released during the PS1, PS2, and the PS3/360 era of gaming. A spin-off stealth action adventure game Left Alive was released in 2019, but reviews for it are not great, with Steam reviews for the game giving it an overwhelmingly negative rating, and it's not really a mech sort of game. I don't think it's more of like a third-person shooter. But yeah, anyway, back to the older games. Some of them seem to be more like the Armored Core games, while some seem more like tactical strategy or even RTS games. Front Mission 2 Remake is of the latter, as quote, "Front Mission 2 blends intense strategy with a deep and involved storyline." So, story seems another big part of the Front Mission games, alongside the mech combat. The game looks quite intriguing to me. I'd like to try some of the older ones and see how they play. Front Mission Evolved looks quite cool too, and it's on Steam, so I may try out someday. There was also a remake of the first game titled Front Mission First Remake. This remake is a remake, though this one I'm talking about now predominantly is a remake of the second mainline game, which originally released on the PlayStation, the PS1, and apparently, quote, "preserves the mature story, strategic turn-based combat, and Wanzer customization options of the original. Enjoy the revitalized classic with updated visuals and new features and enhancements." Front Mission 2 Remake is releasing on the 5th of October and is coming solely to the Nintendo Switch. I guess this remake and maybe the other one could come to other platforms. As the other one, sorry, the other one actually did. So yeah, maybe following this Switch release, if it does alright, might release on other consoles and PC. And and so on. The final game for today is a sequel to a Nintendo 3DS game, Detective Pikachu. This sequel is simply titled Detective Pikachu Returns. I had heard of the game and the film, but I've not played either the game or watched the film. These Detective Pikachu games are adventure games where you must solve a number of mysteries, something which you may expect given the game's name. You don't actually play as Pikachu, I don't think, from what I can tell, but a human character who is aided by Pikachu. Both games do sound interesting to me, though I can't see myself playing them anytime soon. This is, I guess, compounded by the fact that I don't currently own a 3DS or a Switch. As this is a game based upon Pokemon, there are a bunch of other Pokemon besides Pikachu in the game. The other Pokemon can also be used to solve mysteries, as shown in some of the footage that I watched. At least, yeah, that's what seems to be the case. Part of the description on the Nintendo site reads, quote, "Join the detective in question and his cohort, Tim, to help solve the riddle of his missing partner, along with other curious incidents occurring within Rhyme City." And say graphically, the game looks fine. The style fits what you'd like to expect from a Switch Pokemon game. There's a lot of color and more simplistic, cozy art design. Kind of like the farming games I've covered a number of times, so I'll keep covering here. The first game, which released in 2016 in Japan and 2 years later worldwide, did okay reviews-wise. Yeah, not too bad actually, with scores ranging from 6s to 8s. So yeah, it does seem a fairly decent game. Though I do feel that the pre-launch reception around Detective Pikachu Returns to be a bit less positive, as the trailer video does have some more dislikes than I had expected, and some of the comments have been a bit negative towards the game. Maybe it will have issues, like some people are saying, but I'm not sure. We'll have to wait and see. Detective Pikachu is releasing on the Detective Pikachu Returns, rather, is releasing on the 6th of October, and it's coming, as I did mention, solely to the Nintendo Switch. And I would be surprised if we see it on another non-Nintendo platform in the future. So that's the upcoming games section for this week done. Before I finish up, I will let you know that GOG, however you like to pronounce it, is currently celebrating its 15th anniversary, and there are some fairly heavy discounts across many games over on their site and PC app. I will cover a number of them quickly. I'll just sort of list them off, maybe mention the odd thing about them. I would definitely check the GOG site though, check the site or the GOG PC app as well, as I won't be covering everything here, simply because there's a lot of games discounted. So first, XCOM 2, that's 95% off, and I believe some of the DLCs are on discount as well. Good game. I have played it a decent amount. I haven't completed it like I did the original XCOM, or not the original, the classic one, not that one, the one before, XCOM Enemy Unknown, I believe. Then we have Metro 2033, not 23, and Last Light, but the redo versions of both those games. I played the original versions of both of them, and yeah, they're really good games. 89% off for those. Thief Gold, Thief 2 The Metal Age, and they're 86% off. Yeah, really awesome classic old school sort of PC games from the late 90s and 2000, around 2000. Plus Thief Deadly 3 Deadly Shadows, that's 89% off. I haven't played the original two, but I have played a bit of Thief Deadly Shadows. I would like that as well, but I think Thief Gold and Thief 2 The Metal Age are generally considered to be the better games. Then we got Tomb Raider Anniversary and Underworld, and some other Tomb Raider games. In fact, yeah, but a few of them, not all of them, but a few more are actually on deal. Uh, yeah, if you've listened to my videos before, you know I quite like the Tomb Raider games, the old ones as well. So yeah, their range on GOG range from 86% to 89% off. Then we got Deus Ex Game of the Year Edition. I've not played the Deus Ex, the original game. Played Human Revolution. That is actually a really good game. But yeah, Deus Ex, the original game, I do. It's another game, old sort of classic game I want to get around to at some point. But yeah, the Game of the Year Edition is 86% off. Then we have Bioshock 1 and 2 Remastered. I have played the first Bioshock, but not any of the others. But yeah, Bioshock 1 and 2, 75% off and 85% off respectively. Then we have Middle Earth Shadow War, 85% off. Haven't played this yet. I do have it on Steam. But yeah, just again, haven't got around to it. Then we have the Sherlock Holmes games. I believe they're fairly well received. Not played them, but I guess they're sort of third person mystery sort of puzzle um, adventure games. I believe, I'm not sure if it's all of them, but when I looked, a bunch of them were, and maybe three of the newest ones, 85% off. Then we have Dragon's Dogma Dark Arisen. I've actually played and completed this game. I'm pretty sure, yeah, like I went through it not too long ago. But yeah, really good game actually. It's yeah, I don't know why it took me so long to sort of get in, eventually play it, because it came out a little while ago now. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool RPG. That's 84% off. Then we have 13, not the remake, but the 13, the classic one that was on PS2 and PC and such. But yeah, that's yeah, really good game. I played it a long time ago, but yeah, haven't played it since. But yeah, as far as I can tell, it still holds up. Decent FPS game. That's 80% off. Rune Classic. It's another sort of early 2000s sort of retro PC game, and yeah, I have actually played it. It's like a hack and slash adventure sort of action game, and yeah, it's a pretty good game. I believe it was maybe at the beginning of this year I played through it via GOG. But yeah, pretty good game. That is 79% off. Next we have Baldur's Gate 1 and 3, not 1 and 3, sorry, 1 and 2 enhanced editions. I haven't played the original Baldur's Gates or the new one yet, but yeah, they're very well received games. I believe they're 75% off. Now we have Jade Empire Special Edition. That's another game I haven't played. I believe it's a BioWare sort of RPG. Very, very well reviewed game, and that is 75% off. Then we have Neverwinter Nights Enhanced Edition. I actually have this, but I haven't played it. It's another sort of D&D, I believe, RPG, well received. Yeah, 75% off for that game. Then we have Planescape Torment Enhanced Edition, 75% off. Another very sort of classic PC game, very well received, sort of beloved game, I guess. 75% off, yeah, as I said. Then the Stalker games, they're 75% off. I've mentioned them a few times, but I've only played Shadow of Chernobyl actually properly, and yeah, that's a really good game actually. And the Stalker games are 75% off. And then finally we have Siberia, the Siberia games. I believe there's 3 of them, but I only saw the first 2 on sale. They're like sort of graphic adventure games, where you just control your character and have to solve sort of mysteries and things. But yeah, I've heard good things about them, and they are 75% off. And yeah, as I said, there are many more, and the GOG 15th anniversary sale ends, I believe, on October 2nd. So before I wrap the video up, I will cover my spotlight for this week, and as I spoke of earlier, the spotlight today will be of 2 YouTube videos that showed off some gameplay for a new and in development Skyrim mod. The mod aims to recreate Vampire the Masquerade Redemption. As I covered earlier, the stuff they shown in both videos looks pretty good. Definitely check them out if you're a fan of the Vampire the Masquerade games or are just generally interested. And yeah, I will link them. So that's all the game coverage from me today. I will be publishing a tech news video tomorrow, so check back for that if you're interested. As always, feedback is appreciated, so go ahead and like or dislike and leave a comment. If you enjoy my videos and commentary, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back again soon.